Hi everyone, my name is Rebecca and I'm from Elimination Communication Babies, and today with me we have Clare Stead from Oliiki. And Oliiki is an amazing app to support babies' brain development. So welcome Clare, and what we're going to talk about today is the combination of how EC supports the baby's first 1,000 days in brain development, and we're going to really delve into baby's first 1,000 days with Clare. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's really nice to be here.
Yeah, so tell us about your journey with your app and what got you into building an app for start.
So I am, hi everybody, I am a mum of 3 now bigger children, but I'm also a primary school teacher and an education researcher. So I used to work in primary schools, and I found that the children that always fascinated me were those children who arrived and didn't necessarily fly. What was the difference between those children and the brightest children in the class? Because these children were obviously bright, they just weren't captivated and engaged in the learning in the same sort of way. And I wanted to understand what made that difference between the brightest of the children who just got on with the work and those children that didn't necessarily find it so easy. And so that took me on a journey, and then I fell into education research, and I started looking at how to help children feel really motivated by learning and independent learning and finding their voice and finding their passion. And then I ended up building an app for children in Zambia that put the whole of primary education on a tablet for them to get international standard education in their own language, voiced and translated. And that was a huge project. That was 12,000 lesson plans and 5,000 pieces of interactive learning content in 9 languages. Wow. It was work. But all of that, and I was advising governments on curriculum and that sort of thing, but all of it kept coming back to the same thing. How do you get these children to be really captivated by learning? Because when we know that when we've got captivated children, they're engaged. When they're engaged, they learn more. When they learn more, they feel successful, and the outcomes are much better.
That's true.
So that was my journey. And then somebody showed me the graph of learning in the first 1,000 days of life that came out of Harvard, and it looks like this. And the blue section is the first year, and this is the brain development, and you can see it's this amazing window of opportunity in that first year where everything is just sparking off and kicking off and all going woohoo. And I realized that I was working with sort of the upper end of primary, and I was working with the wrong age range. I needed to be working, if I wanted to make that impact and change for those children, I needed to be working in that period where that brain development was sparking off and going all over the place. Yeah. And that's when I realized that I can't work with babies. I need to work with parents, because parents are the route through to working with the babies. So that's why I now work in the first 1,000 days of life.
That makes total sense, and that's an incredible journey you've had. That's awesome. Well done. So you've developed an app, and what is special about your app, Oliiki?
So the reason I made an app was because obviously I'd done this primary school element, and that was an app, and I saw the impact of, and a lot of my research was into ed tech, and I saw the impact that it can have and the immediacy of it, because it's on your phone, it's there with you. So when you're a breastfeeding parent, you can just sit there and scroll, and it's really easy to get to. When you're pregnant, you can be in the office and having 10 minutes of having a coffee, and you can flick through and do a little activity today, right now, with your coffee, that's going to help build your baby's brain. And that, for me, was like, this is just the best possible way, because of the way that we can start making that impact. So the app I developed is, it's called the Leaky App, and it is basically tiny activities, and they are tiny, and that is the point. They're daily activities from conception to 2, so there's 1,026 of them, so there's one every day, and some in case you go overdue. And the idea is that they help you prepare your for parenting, start thinking about this journey you're going on, learning more about your baby's brain development, but also the impact that you as a parent can have on your child's life outcomes. Because one of the most amazing things about the first 1,000 days, and when I started this journey, I thought that this learning was all about learning. But actually, it turns out that this window of opportunity you have in the first 1,000 days impacts not just their academic outcomes, but it impacts their relationships, their health, how much they're going to earn, how academically they're going to succeed. We know that although what happens later matters, we know that what happens before the child is 22 months old, we can tell the academic outcomes at 26 years.
Gosh,
so
it
incredible. Is phenomenal how important this period of time is. And so the other thing that I kept seeing happening is an awful lot of, you need to spend a lot of money, you need to buy a lot of stuff. Babies are expensive and they need loads of gubbins, and only expensive toys will do the stuff that you need to do. And I wanted to sort of bust that myth, because actually it isn't about that piece of plastic that you can buy. It's about your connection, your communication, your connectivity with your child that will make the impact on their life outcomes.
Yeah, right. Perfect. Wow. That is so awesome. Such an important topic to be talking about. And also for the parent, like, as a new parent, you're coming into this whole journey. You might have been working in a corporate job or whatever you were doing before this time, and suddenly now you're responsible for a baby, and you may not, have the confidence or quite know what you're doing. So having ideas like this is going to help you with your confidence, right?
Absolutely. And actually, if you think about it, when we learn to drive, we're taught how to drive. When we learn to do our job, we are taught either through our degree or through our training or through apprenticeship or whatever. We learn to do our job by being taught.
That's right. Yeah.
We're taught to do everything that we do in life. We're taught, except parenting. It's the one thing where we kind of should know how to do it. But why should we know how to do it when the last time you held a baby was possibly when you were 4 and your sibling came along? If you are somebody who hasn't really been into kids, then quite possibly you've had no experience of holding a baby. You want to be a parent, you want to have this child, but what do you need to do in order to be ready to have that child and set them up for success? Well, it's a mystery and it's not talked about. We talk about the birth, we talk about getting the nursery ready, we talk about pregnancy clothes, but we don't talk about the birthing. All fabulous, all last for 9 months. But what we don't talk about is the thing that lasts a lifetime, and doesn't just impact your child, it impacts your children's children and their children. So it is phenomenal, the impact that the tiny things we have on a daily basis, that the repercussions they will have for a lifetime and more. So
that's sort of nurturing, that sort of nurturing and that engagement with them, and all those tiny little activities that build them up over time, slowly, repetition, structure, routine, all of those little things that really help them move through their day. So important.
Totally. And it's not about dyeing pasta and buying the expensive something and having a beautiful beige nursery. It's actually more about how you interact, how you communicate, the things that you do together on a daily basis, even when you're doing the washing with your child. Well, in fact, let's go back to pregnancy. When you're pregnant, just talking to your bump. Actually talk to your bump. Tell them what you're doing in a day. Now, you might feel completely bonkers doing that, but actually, it is such a rich activity, because what it's doing is it is giving your baby the chance to hit from 18 weeks, I think it is, they can hear your voice. So they are then able to start beginning to bond with that voice. And the way you talk to a baby is quite sing-songy. And you will naturally fall into that sing-songy thing. It's called mother-ease. And the reason we do it, this blew my mind when I found this out.
This is so
the reason that we do it is because it slows down the vowels. So we go, hello, baby, how are you? And what we've done is we've slowed the vowels down. And the reason we do that is because all children are born children of the world. And so they can speak any language. When they come out, they can speak any language. And over time, they lose that ability because they hone in and become a specialist in the language in which they are being brought up.
Interesting.
And in order to do that, at 10 months old, 10 to 12 months, they take statistical analysis of the vowels that they're hearing on a daily basis, and they bin the ones they aren't hearing.
Oh, wow.
And they keep the ones they are hearing, and they get a specialist in that. So the reason that we do the hum chatting to babies, it's called mother-ease. The reason we do that is to slow those vowels down so that the babies can hear it. And because the rhythm of song is really good for us, we can sort of really get into that and attach ourselves to it, the rhythms. It's also, we're attuned to hearing that sing-songy. So it's all about naturally building your child's language. Now you know that, you will want to do it more. Yes. Because you understand it. Yeah. So what I did with the app was I gave them not only these tiny activities, but explained the why. Yeah. And that why is transformational. Because when you have this brand new baby, you do what every parent does, and you sit in the sitting room and you go, ooh, what now? Who's coming to get this one? No one. Okay. I remember one mum saying to me, I did Google, what do you actually do with a baby all day? And I don't think she's the only one. And so when you get to that stage and you think, now what do I actually do? You aren't feeling the pressure of going onto Instagram and getting these amazing activities that you need to spend 2 hours making that don't actually have any activity in them for the child, because you were doing the activity when you made them. Yes. So what I've tried to show parents is that singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is actually huge for developing your child's brain. Yeah. But it helps them with their rhythm. It gives them rhyme. It gives them words in context. It gives them that slowness of language so that the children can take that analysis of language and learn words in context. Yeah. It gives them, but it also gives them children who are surrounded by music a better chance at maths. And so children surrounded by music tend to be more mathematical. So it's those sorts. Yeah. So the app gives parents the activity. It tells them how to do it, which is usually don't drown them, or put some sun cream on, that sort of thing. Why you're doing it, which is the fundamental bit, and then the science behind it. And then the last thing is that you get the areas of learning that your baby's developed by doing the activity.
You can fill all those little buckets up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, how fascinating is that? Now, with Elimination Communication, we've had a conversation previously about this and delved into this. And with Elimination Communication, there's, communication verbally, non-verbally, body language. We've got routine and structure, play. We've got connection, responsiveness, watch and learn, role play with, the potty. All of these concepts that build up to independence and even pushback, even when they're starting to go into an independent stage and they start pushing back, that's learning. So a whole lot of these little things that happen every single day with Elimination Communication can help build your baby's brain, because you're basically repeating and you're using all of these different things that I've just discussed that really help your child hone in on important stuff, right? So,
but what it's also doing, and this is the bit that's often forgotten, is it's tuning you into your child.
That's right.
And children thrive in an environment of relationships and connection. And that's why I'm so excited by what you're doing, because communication, elimination communication, that's the name of your thing.
Yeah.
And that's what your parents are doing. They are actively seeking out communication.
That's right.
Now,
yeah.
We thrive on that communication. And the skill set that parents are learning through doing EC will naturally roll into developing into other areas in their lives. It will roll across.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Picking up those tiny cues and being tuned for them, and it's called attunement. So it's when you are being attuned to your child,
yeah,
you will see so much more. So for example, I'm not sure where the nappy thing comes in, but if you're doing a nappy change or your child is down and you're sort of cleaning them up.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That is a brilliant communication time.
Yeah.
Your child is born tuned into you.
That's right.
They are born to lock their eyes onto your eyes and look for that connection. Lots of parents won't notice that because they're busy. They're busy doing cleaning and not getting poo everywhere. Or wheeze in the case of boys.
There's always a lot of that.
Absolutely. But actually, your baby's desperate and they're hunting that attunement with you and being in connection with you.
That's
now,
right.
EC parents are learning to be in tune with their child. So it is an amazing thing, because where you're talking about poop and wee, you're actually teaching skills in the parents that are going to follow through for their baby's development.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Just a simple thing like offering the opportunity to go toilet, or putting the baby on the change mat afterwards to dry out and have a kick and play, and you're engaging with them at the same time, or you're sitting there while they're on the potty and you're engaging with them or teaching them some baby sign language, or reading little books, but you're engaging with them while they're doing their normal things during the day, and repeating that daily so many times. Like, that is just a lot of practice for them, and a lot of stuff is going on for them while you do that.
And also, from my understanding of EC, it's not a case of just randomly deciding, oh, it's time to go into the toilet.
No.
It's actually watching for those cues and responding to them. And that's where the nugget is. Yeah. That's the real excitement about what you're doing. Because in that bit, that's where you're tuned into your child, because you're watching for those tiny clues.
Yeah, there's this natural times which are more likely, and then there's the, like you say, the noticing of the baby's signals, and building that sort of routine into your day as well. So there's a whole lot of times you can offer, but the best are obviously when they are giving you the signal, and it turns from those natural signals right at the start to a intentional signal. That's when it gets really exciting. They're trying to communicate with you, and we noticed around the 12-month mark our babies were signing back to us, so we were getting a lot of that one's the potty, but we were getting a lot of all done, or a lot of more food please. They loved that one. So that is that deliberate communication coming through before they're verbal, and then once they hit the time where they can start talking and really, or pointing like or talking and pointing little simple words, then you can really like start to understand. And there's always back and forth with communication, isn't there? It's not always one way. It's both of you communicating to each other.
And babies born wanting to communicate, and they communicate in the womb. If you think about it, your baby's been communicating since they were tiny.
Oh my gosh.
And we have responded. It has been a communication. It's been a bond. Every time your baby kicked and you put your hand on your tummy and felt it, and then put your partner's hand, waited, and then they didn't kick again, that is a communication. That's a two-way process of brain building stuff. And yet we sometimes think that babies are born not communicating, but they are born absolutely designed to communicate. They have to communicate because it's their survival technique. What happens is we forget to watch and listen and learn, and it's in these tiny things that we do that we get this.
That's beautiful. And there's so much instinct as well when they're first born. It's amazing.
There is, but we then second guess ourselves. And we think, but I haven't done anything. I've done nothing all day. I've done the washing and I've got my baby dressed. But when and I've put them on the top of the potty and I've they've done a poo and a wee. And I didn't even get it in the potty, then I'm a failure. And I was.
There's a lot of self-doubt, isn't there? And we're all guilty of it.
And I was going to whip my baby out in the sunlight and, oh, come on.
So I can see from when you talk about how in your app you put in the reasons and the science behind what you're doing, that is going to really build confidence for parents. And it may seem like a tiny little activity, but it's such an important tiny little activity. So that's going to make me feel great that I've just done that. Like that's going to build my baby's maths future. For example,
and it's like mind-blowing. And the other thing is that a lot of things in the app you'll already be doing, and what parents say to me is, I love those ones because those ones make me feel amazing, because I get to them and think, oh, I'm already a goddess because I've done that.
Love it.
And so that just confirms that actually you are doing the right thing, you are on track. And then the other ones are just some cracking ideas. It's like a library of activities that's just at your fingerprints, fingerprints at your fingertips, but that are designed to be at the right age and stage for your baby from conception, and make you realise that it doesn't have to be these enormous big things, because I think those are just incredibly draining. And I think they are actually detrimental to your children, because they take so much of you to set up and make happen that you are then so invested in the thing that you made. I mean, I saw one on Instagram and it made me so cross. It was jelly that had been dyed blue. I think it was rice that had been ground up, and that was the sand, and you were making a seascape on a paper plate. And then you obviously went to the kitchen drawer and pulled out those 6 starfish that you had sitting in the kitchen drawer and the edge.
Okay.
And then you gave that to your child for them to play. What play are they going to do? You've done the play
it all.
in making it happen. But actually, you're completely stressed because the jelly hasn't set. You forgot to grind the rice. The baby's pooed in the middle of doing all of this. You haven't done the washing up, and you never quite got round to doing it. So now you feel a failure. Actually, if you just gave the child some pots and pans and a wooden spoon and chatted, you would be building your baby's brain. If you understood what you were doing, then you would feel amazing. So I just want everybody to just stop putting this deep pressure on everybody. Let's start focusing in on our successes so that we can give our children that cycle of success, because it breeds a cycle of success. Once you've got one bit of success, it rolls up. Because if we go back to those children that I used to teach, that is the difference between success and engagement. That belief in my success. And if you want your child to feel that successful, confident, capable, independent learner, and find their adventures in learning and be sparked in their sort of investigation and inquiry, that I think we all do, then it starts right in conception, which is bonkers, but it's how we are.
It totally makes sense though. It's incredible.
If you think about when you're feeling a failure and you feel like you aren't getting anything right, you don't feel very chatty. You don't feel very engaging with other people. You don't seek to actively do stuff. And as a parent, we therefore are like that with our children.
Right. Yeah.
So when we give ourselves this cycle of success by only looking for tiny, tiny wins,
Mm-hmm.
and celebrating them as if they were a big win.
Yeah.
Like if all you did today was smile at somebody in the street and they smiled back,
you are enough,
that's
right? You
win.
are enough.
That's a win.
That's
because if you celebrate that, your brain gets the hit of dopamine that says, oh, I did good. And when we do that, we are on our cycle up rather than our cycle down.
And your vibe is running that show, right? So you are, that energy is coming out of you. So if you're, what you say, getting that little hit of dopamine and you're feeling good, well, then that's going to make the whole environment feel so much better and much more positive for the baby and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is remembering that yesterday you were doing, because you did your tiny activity that was smile at someone, and today's activity is to talk to your bump, and tomorrow's activity is to, I don't know, go for a walk.
Yeah.
Well, that smiling that started on Monday actually goes through all the way through the week, because you remembered that yesterday that was a learning activity for your baby. So when you are then talking to your baby, you smile. When you smile, your language changes. Then when you go for a walk, you find someone else to smile at. So you spread that success across a number of days, but also the learning that comes with it for your baby's brain.
That is incredible.
So it's not tiny activities that only are for the length of the activity. They go along for a longer period of time.
It's amazing.
The impact, therefore, is huge.
Thank you so much for developing this app, because you've put this out there with all of that stuff and all of that experience that you've gained, and you've poured that into this for everyone so that you can help people, and that is incredible. And thank you.
I want to help parents feel fabulous so that they can help their children feel fabulous, because isn't that the most amazing gift we can give our kids?
That's right.
And that's all it's all about, really.
And thank you so much for sharing that too with us
thank
today.
you very much for having us.
And we will pop the link so you guys can go and look at both the Easy Babies books and the Oliiki apps, so that you guys can build your baby's brains doing simple daily activities like poo. Thank you so much, and we're going to say goodbye for now, and awesome, we'll see you later.
See you all. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye.